Hi, my name's Maria and welcome to my channel MH Books, and today I'm going to just do a Friday reads, though it's a special Friday being the Friday of the St. Patrick's Day bank holiday weekend. So I'm just kind of just going to get into this because there's a lot to do this weekend. The traffic was horrendous coming home. It was like a whole hour and a half, and that's when we could get in the bus. There was a bit of a wait for buses going by first. So yeah, everybody's going home for the bank holiday weekend. So just to crack on with what I'm reading or read during the week. The first thing I finished up was Stephen King's The Gunslinger. As you know, or anybody who's not new and has been listening knows, I am reading Mr. King in chronological order from the beginning. So I think The Gunslinger is about 1980. Might be, I think it's about 1980. It's on the cusp of the late 70s, early 80s. And it is my least favourite novel. It's the fourth time reading it. So the first two times I DNF'd. Third time I made myself read it in the hopes that one day I would read the rest of this fantasy series that he's written. But it really is just a pile. I used to think I didn't like because I didn't like westerns, but I do like westerns as it turns out. It is a very disjointed book. It's trying at some stages to be literary fiction now. That's why I took this one down a bit. Stephen freely admits he tried to put some literary fiction to this. He thought he was writing the all-American, great American novel, whatever the term is, except it just happened to have vampires in it. But he goes and ruins his literary fiction by putting in a proper genre novel with action and character development and people dying and lots of blood, and it's hard to do within the scope of literary fiction. So he has these lovely literary passages, and then he has this fast-paced horror novel, a lovely literary passage, fast-paced, so it doesn't really work, but it's cute. It's cute that he's attempting this and that you can see this, and there's my tabbing and some of those tabs of where he's attempted to do that. Now I think he's trying to do the, I can't remember the Gunslinger because I really tried to wipe it from my memory as well, as to the background of the story. But I think it was a short story originally that was expanded upon. And he was trying to write again a piece of literary fiction, okay, because he was trying not to be cast as a genre novelist. And we read these Bachman books, they do tend towards a bit more towards literary fiction than the normal genre. And at this stage I think Bachman had been discovered to be him. And it's just so disjointed. It's this Lord of the Ring-esque fantasy with all these complications which we see is happening. We even have a scene that happens in Lord of the Rings where a person falls down. It's westerns and it's based on spaghetti westerns because he liked westerns. And it's apocalyptic, and remember this is written after The Stand, and I believe it's going to connect to The Stand being his really long novel. I don't know why I have to point them out to you, but it's there. The Stand being his really long post-apocalyptic novel. It was about a flu, but there's a bad guy in it, and I believe, and I can see how the bad guy is going to be in the Dark Tower series. It has all these points and they're just not working together. He didn't write a novel. He put in, I do some writing and I have bits and pieces of writing which I'm really proud of, but I don't have one big long piece that's a novel. It's like I took all my best bits and try to shove it and make it into a novel. And I feel like he's trying to do that, or that's how it felt like to me. I really don't like it. But I know that this series gets better and that he relaxes and if he gets about attempting the literary fiction. Now, I'm really sorry to some of my friends who love this. So I would love to say, sorry, I'm not going to name people because I know some people don't like being named, but the person who says, after rereading The Gunslinger for the third time, I'm issuing an official statement that nobody's allowed to say this is the weakest book in the series from here on out. Sorry. And seriously, did I miss this? This is iconic. Some books are relationships. The timing has to be right. I remember picking this book up decades ago and thinking it was really not for me. What could Stephen King have been thinking? ... With the benefit of hindsight, I'm now wondering how I could have been so dismissive. Amazing what a few decades developing your literary taste can do to change your mind. So maybe I'm not there yet. Maybe. Okay. The next book I finished, let's see, I'm going to try and do this in order, and I'm using Goodreads to help me. I have a bloody bad cold today. Really bad sore throat. So, yeah. Okay. The next one was The Night Tiger. And this is why I'm cheating a little bit today too. Is because The Night Tiger is a book set in Malaysia. And it uses some Malayan and some Chinese legends within it. I just wanted to see, can I find my own review? Okay. So this is more just looking at, I'm cheating by looking at my own review from Goodreads. Not that my Goodreads review was particularly good, but it will help me say the word 5 Confucian virtues, which are Chinese virtues. And so the 5 virtues that make up a perfect human being. One of them being yen. Okay, so there are 5 people in this book, and they're named after all these virtues, and together they should make up the perfect human being, but they are not working the way they should be. So Yen, whose name means wisdom, is not making particularly wise choices, and because of the disparity of what they're doing, they're putting the world out of balance seemingly, and they may be responsible for things like people's sudden deaths because they're wishing it. This is a magical realism book, so some of it, you know, you have to take with a grain of salt. And there are were-tigers in this book, and there may be one of these 5 children's master who is the were-tiger, or it may be a murder, or it may be the wish of another one of these people that's causing this. So it's full of all these intriguing plots and subplots, and will the 5 people find each other out? We're not told who the 5th one is until near the end. Will they find each other? Will they get themselves back into balance? Is there a were-tiger? Is there murders occurring? What's really happening here? The mystery, okay-ish, I kind of guessed it. The 5th person, kind of guessed them. More or less, and 89% there, which is usually a good sign too, because it means that the hints were in the book, so it isn't just like oh my god, that ending couldn't be thing. There's a love story within this, and yeah, there's an awful lot of different stories and plot devices. You know, it's a long book. It's okay, didn't mind it. Not my favourite. So the author is The Night Tiger by Yangsze Choo. Chinese names, another type of name I don't know. Maybe I'm just going to learn how to pronounce at least some culture's name besides an Irish culture name, and maybe a few odd English names. I will try her other book. She had a book before this, and I will try to read that one, because I do like the ideas of the story. It was okay. It was a 3-star. It wasn't too bad. It just didn't blow my mind or anything. The next book, I DNF'd at 24 pages. Okay, this is The Glass Woman, based in Iceland, 17th century Iceland, about somebody who gets married to somebody who's married for the second time, and he originally killed his first, well, he didn't, I don't know, he buried his first wife in the middle of the night. And then when she moves to his island where he lives, nobody would talk to her, and he gives her this glass woman, and there's this whole mystery, you know, and about what happened and all the rest of it. It's not writing I'm not writing I like at all. Pulled me out 2-3 times within 24 pages. The first major jarring was they had a character, one of the character's mother, tell her, that the man that she had married had buried his first wife in the middle of the night. But the daughter already knew this, so they're actually telling me through the character in a way that they're not meant to do, which even a beginner knows you don't tell that way. The plot is going back and forth, but it's not flowing properly. There's no flow at all. It's only 24 pages, so it's a bit harsh to judge this 24 pages. But the 24th page has a bloody love scene that I'd be embarrassed to put in a YA novel. And you know, he takes off his shirt and he has beautiful abs. Oh God, I just don't like it. It's not for me. And I know that somebody's going to really, really love that book. I'm sorry, it just wasn't for me. So, too many books to read. I've now got 560 unread ones on my shelf, as well as a queue of 6 books waiting for me in the library. So, I DNF'd that one. So please forgive me if that's a book that you're really enjoying, because let's face it, I love this one, a lot of people won't. This is The Auctioneer. Originally picked it up because it's supposed to be classic horror. It's by Joan, Samson, so it's also supposed to be written by a woman. Written in 1976. So I'm looking at the back of the book, and she dies in 1976 as well. No, she's not dead in this book, in the back of this book, but I think it was in the Goodreads. She's dead by then. So this is probably her last book. Hard to get your hands on a copy of it. I will be getting my hands on a copy of it. I'd rather get a second hand, but if I need to, I'll get one of the reprints from Book Depository, which seems to be the only place to get it. It's not, if you read my good review, I don't classify this as horror at all. I don't see where the horror classification came from. It is definitely full of dread, and it is definitely dark, and it definitely explains what people can do to each other. We have here a rural community, and in this community there is a man, his wife and his child and his mother, and they're all Murrays. I wonder, are they Irish Murrays, because he's deeply attached to the land, so that would make sense. And an auctioneer moves to the neighbourhood, and he starts auctions to help out the local police force. But things start, and I think it almost takes, and it's only 230 pages odd, it takes about 100 pages to realise John Murray isn't being paranoid for no reason. People aren't up to no good, and things incessantly get worse, but it creeps up and creeps up and creeps up on them, and they allow the character to do something that he shouldn't be allowed to do under any moral circumstances, and the whole town allows it, and it's how that can happen. And to me, that it was a really interesting portrayal. It's actually something that I was trying to think about how I would write, because something similar happened to me, where I worked for a person, and everybody who worked for her was extremely bullied, and yet we never left, and we either joined her or we found extreme excuses to get out of that job. So, and I was trying to think, how the hell do you explain to somebody how it happened, how we all let it happen, and get so bad? It didn't get quite as bad as that, but yeah. So I loved that book. I loved the conclusion, and it's not the last paragraph, but it's near the very end, and it's Ma's last line. And yeah, she's absolutely 100% right. And it's maybe that's the bit that's terrifying. It's terrifying that you might find yourself in that situation too. So those are the ones I've read, and I forgot to take out the ones I'm reading. Sorry. Welcome back to me. I'm currently listening to the girl who played with Varsity Lawson's second Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series book, just for a piece of light stuff while I'm doing housework and things. Loving that it's gone back to the first book and is talking about the repercussions of her revenge. Reading something from my spring TBR. So it's Zoo. It's Darker Than You Think by Otsuichi. I really wish I could say these words. I'm going to just get Irish authors like Oisin and things that other people find hard to say and show off and say, I can say them. Short, dark horror stories. Read the first one, halfway through the second one. Loved the first one. Love his writing style. I love the beginning where he talks about photos and the comparison between photos and film is the same as the comparison between poetry and prose. But that if you take a whole series of photos, you almost have a film. And that poetry is basically a whole load of moments, and then if you could string them together, you would almost have prose. But it's also a very dark horror story. This is not on my spring TV, or I seen it yesterday in the bookshop and I just bought it because it's looked lovely. It's by a former neuroscientist, and I was a neuroscientist, so you know that's a great reason to buy a book and to just read it. I'm only about 10 pages in. I love her style. This is Do You Dream of Terra-Two by Temi. Temi is a Chinese origin anyway. I'm a neuroscientist living in London. And this is a book about loneliness in outer space, seemingly according to the cover, but so far I'm only 10 pages in, and it's about a little boy who's prophesied he was going to die before he was 20. No, he's prophesied he's going to leave this earth before he's 20. So he thinks it means he's going to die, but then he has a chance to go to space. So if he goes to space, he leaves Earth and he's not going to die. So yeah, really enjoyed it. So that's my Friday Reads TBR. Friday Reads TBR? I suppose it is a bit TBR for the weekend. Have you read anything good recently? Are you planning any reads? Do you have a long weekend? You're just planning reads for a normal weekend. And if so, what are you going to read? Bye now.